Hey Galaxy girls, this is Easy Breezy. So in this video, I want to talk about the decisions that I made in my 20s that I'm so glad I made. Okay. I am now 30 years old and I'm turning 31 on January 30th, Aquarius gang. Okay, period. And yeah, so I want to talk about the decisions that I made in my 20s that I'm so glad that I made. And if I was 20 years old and I told myself, what will my future self thank me for? It would be these things. So, number one, I am so glad that I was delulu about my value and how I seen myself. So I remember when I first started Galaxy Girl and, I started branding myself and things like that, a lot of people were confused about the direction I was going. They didn't understand it. They didn't understand why my brand was so colorful and why it seemed so childish and things like that. I remember one time when I was designing my very first salon suite, it was like purple, it was yellow and pink, and it was just like, it looked so colorful. Like it didn't look like any other like salon suite in that whole building. And the guy that used to come around and sell food, his name was Brandino. Rest in peace, Brandino. We miss you and your cooking and your love and your support and your energy. But he came in the room and he was like, this room is so colorful. This doesn't look like a regular hair salon. And I was just like, okay, and and he was like, and your name, Easy Breezy. He was like, how come you don't go by your real name? And I told him, I don't mind, but I just like Easy Breezy, it was Easy Breezy was a part of my whole persona. It was like the idea that I had in my mind, right? And he was like, Easy Breezy, no one's gonna take you serious with a name like that. You need to go by your real name because it sounds unprofessional, it sounds childish. And I was like, what? I was just so lost because no one ever told me that before, And now, I do understand what he was saying. I understand that with certain things, I do want to put my real name on it, Not everything is going to be title or labeled with Easy Breezy on it. Like when I write my books or when I, do certain things, I may go by Zakiya Simmons or I may go by Easy Breezy. I don't know. But at the time, I can tell that he couldn't really digest my vision. He couldn't digest, where I was going, like the direction I was going. And I didn't listen. I was still kind of like, Delulu. I'm like, no, he tripping. I know what I'm doing. He tripping. So another thing that makes me laugh when I think about it is when I first started my hair company, I wanted to start branding it. So I brought some bundles and I brought it to my photographer Carlos. He is still going designs on Instagram. He's awesome. He's like literally the best. So I brought him my products and stuff and I was like, yeah, I want to start a hair company. And he was like, you want to start a hair company? He was like, everyone has a hair company in Atlanta. And mind you, y'all, this is like 2017. This is way early, He was like, everyone has a hair company. And he was like, what's going to set you apart? And I was like, 'cause I'm me. I was like, I'm Easy Breezy, that's why. And he was just like looking at me like, this girl don't know what she doing. He was like so confused why I wouldn't start a hair company. Because he could have sworn that everyone in Atlanta already sold hair. So he was like, what's going to make you different? What's going to set you apart? And I legit was like, because I'm Easy Breezy. That's why. And that's before I even had a following on social media. I probably had like 15,000 followers at the time. And I was literally so delusional in my vision of myself. And I believed in it. And I stuck by it. And no one can tell me that my name was childish, that my brand was too colorful, that it looked, not professional or whatever, that everyone was already selling hair. No one can tell me that what I had planned was not the right plan. No one could deter me from my direction and my vision, because I was so set on my vision. I was not budging, period. So yeah, I was delulu about how I saw myself, and I'm still like that. Like, some people may call it vain, some people may call it, egotistical, but it's really not. It's just how I see myself. And maybe it's a lot of my first house in astrology is in Pisces. Technically, my rising is Aquarius and my moon is in Taurus, but a lot of my first house is in Aquarius and Pisces. So I feel like that, creative, delusional energy, that mystical type of energy is just how I think. And everything feels like a project to me at all times. So that's just how I rock. So another decision that I made in my 20s that I'm so glad that I made is, and I don't want to sound arrogant when I say this, but I always thought that I deserved better than the guys I was dating. Always. I never thought, oh my God, this guy is the one, or I have to keep this one, or he's the catch. Like, I never ever looked at a guy like that, ever. I always thought, I'm better than him. He don't deserve me. He not treating me good enough. I always had that attitude about myself. And I really do feel like it prevented me from being in situations for longer than I had to be in them. Because, don't get me wrong, I've been in unhealthy relationships. I've been a side piece. I've been in situationships. I've been a jailbird's girlfriend like 3 different times. I've been in situations that were just ratchet, but I've never been in them for too long. Like, it took less than a year for me to actually realize I'm better than this. I'm better than this whole situation. And I always got myself out of those situations before it was too late, or before I was stuck somewhere, or tied to someone through a child or something like that. So I'm just grateful that I always thought that the guys I was with was not good enough for me, or he wasn't treating me good enough, because I always felt like a princess. Always. So another thing that I'm so glad that I did in my 20s is I was always a workaholic. I always wanted more money. Always. I never chased fame. I always chased money. When I first started my Instagram page, Instagram used to be like photography type stuff. Like, when you scroll down Instagram, like back in 2011, all you used to see is like pictures of birds and beaches and stuff. But the first time I ever saw a hairstylist post her work on Instagram, it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, oh, I can do that too. So ever since I saw that, I started posting my clients on my Instagram page. So I was one of the first stylists on that app that was promoting themselves as a hairstylist and not just posting like random photography pictures. So when I realized that me posting my work on that app was getting me more clients, I realized, oh wow, this is marketing. Like, that's the moment I realized what marketing was. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this, because I want to keep going shopping. I want to keep buying my own sneakers. I want to keep buying my own lunch. I want to keep having money without asking my parents. So I started posting all of my clients on Instagram, and it was getting me more clients. And before you knew it, I was doing like a lot of girls' hair at my high school. Now, at that time, I was mainly doing braids, and I was doing like weaves like here and there, but I was doing like $25 braids, $35 sew-ins. Like, I was having dirt cheap prices, but I always thought about how I can get more money. How can I get more clients? How can I like get more? How can I earn more? So I never thought of my platform as a way to exploit myself or a way to do anything for attention. You know, I always looked at it as a portfolio and a marketing tool, and how can I get more money? Like, literally, that's been my mentality for like ever. So I'm very glad that I thought like that, honestly. So another thing that I'm so glad that I did, let me think. Okay, I'm so glad that I believed in my talent early. Oh man, this is a big one. I'm so glad that I believed in myself. Like, when I was in school, right, there were other girls that had jobs, and I wanted a job. Like, some girls worked at McDonald's and, you know, Wendy's and Burger King, and I used to look up to those girls because I'm like, dang, she has a job. Like, dang, she got money. You know, she probably got a car. You know, and I'm thinking about ways, you know, she's probably using her money. So I wanted a job, but that's when I was already doing like $35 sew-ins. So I'm like, I want a job so bad, even though I do hair, but I didn't think it was enough money. So I ended up getting a job at Outback Steakhouse, and I was a host for however long I was there. And it was cool and stuff, but one day I got real sensitive because I was walking through the restaurant and somebody sitting at a table that I did not seat, that I did not serve, they were like, excuse me, our utensils are dirty. And I looked over and I was like, okay, 1 second. And I went back and I was like, who serviced that table? They got dirty forks. And ever since then, I took it so personal because I'm a very sensitive person. I will cry on a drop of a dime. And ever since that lady screamed at me, I was like, I can't do this. So the first check I got, it was $83. Because, you know, when you're a waitress or a host, you don't get paid regular like $15 an hour. You get paid like $2 an hour, and then you get tips. So when I got my first actual check, it was $83. And I looked at it and I was like, this is literally 3 sew-ins. This is 2 weeks of working like 10 hours a day. And this is equivalent to 3 of my sew-ins. So I went home and I told my dad, I was like, look how small my check is. And he was like, no, he said you make more money doing hair. And y'all, my dad is strict, he used to be strict, and my dad used to like make me feel like I had to like go to college and I had to do this and had to do that. So the moment he told me, you make more money doing hair, I was like, you ain't gotta tell me twice. Honey, I cashed that check and I never went back. So I was literally working at Outback Steakhouse for 2 weeks. 2 weeks and I was done. So after that, I was like, okay, I gotta take this hair thing a little more serious. Like, I gotta go hard, because now I know that working a job is not what it's cracked up to be. So after that, I started taking my clients more serious, and I started to like, it broadened my perspective. I was like, I actually do appreciate my talent now. So ever since then, I took hair serious and I never looked back. So yes, I always believed in myself. I always believed that I could elevate this business and I could elevate my skills and elevate my talent. And I never not thought that I couldn't do that. Like, I never thought, oh, maybe I won't be successful doing hair. Maybe I won't open a salon. Maybe something's gonna stop me. Like, I never ever thought like that. So yes, I always believed in myself from day one, period, point blank. I didn't have a choice. I mean, I didn't want to do anything else. I had to believe in myself, for real, for real. So, one last thing that I'm so glad that I did in my 20s is I was never afraid to let go. I was very attached to certain friends and, certain people, but I was never afraid to let go of them. Like, I would do anything for my friends. My friends wanted to come over to my house, wear my clothes or have me do their makeup. They want to borrow wigs and return them looking crazy. When I started getting sponsored, I started to do my friends' hair for free, giving them free hair. Like, I would literally just do whatever for my friends because it was easy for me. It's not because I went out my way to do things for people. Like, I was blessed with wigs, so that was something that I was able to do for the people that I loved. But when certain friendships, started to, I guess, not serve my spirit anymore, even though I loved my friends so much, and even though after an argument I would always extend, the olive branch and want to have a conversation and things like that, and I did what I thought I needed to do to try to be a good friend and whatever. In the end, I was never afraid to let things go that wasn't serving me. If people were not appreciating me, I had to go my separate way, If people were not patronizing me or supporting me the way I was doing them, if I felt like my friendships were one-sided and I was the only one, without me and my efforts, the whole friendship would fall to pieces. I learned how to let those relationships go. And I'm so, so glad that I did that, because when I let go of certain friendships, I was able to now attract friends that did everything my old friends did not do for me. When I let go of my old friends that would always get their hair done for free, that would even feel entitled to my wigs coming in. Like, girl, tell me when you get new wigs in. Tell me if you get a blonde wig, or let me get your colored wigs, or, whatever. Friends that would never even tip me. They wouldn't even tip me after I do their hair. If I did a friend's hair 10 times in a row, never a tip, never $20 tip, never $10 tip, never I appreciate you, thank you for, considering me for your channel or whatever, $0 and 0 cents. When I separated myself from people like that, I immediately started to not only attract, but see people in my life that were already deserving of being my friends. So for example, I would have certain clients that I was really cool with, and they would always tip me, and our relationship was always reciprocal and things like that. But I never perceived them as a friend. I perceived them as a client. But some of my clients became my closest friends. Some of my old assistants and some of my old stylists became my closest friends. So when I was able to think clear and see clear, I started to see people in my life that was actually there for me. And then I started to attract new people and new friends that wanted to support me just as much as I wanted to support them. Even if I invited them on my channel and said, hey girl, let's do a YouTube channel. I'll do your hair for free. Don't worry about it. No charge to you. They would still pay me. More than my friends ever came out of pocket. So I realized that me letting go of certain people allowed me to not only see current people that were in my life that I may not have been acknowledging, but it allowed me to attract a whole new community of women that loved me for me, that wanted to support me, that wanted to patronize me, and that wanted to bring energy to what I had going on. So, but the friend thing, that wasn't easy. That wasn't something that was just easy for me. I cut everyone off and then my life turned up. No, it wasn't like that. Me and my friends used to fall out and get back cool all the time. And I would reach out to my friends and say, let's talk, like, you know, like, let's have a conversation. And a lot of them ignored me. A lot of them didn't want to talk to me. Maybe they felt like they wanted to go big on me or start competing with me or something. I don't know. But I didn't know friendships were supposed to be like that. Like, I thought that if you get in an argument with your homegirl and you want to talk, I thought that friends were supposed to, like, be able to talk stuff out. But apparently people wanted to go big on me, and yeah. So anyways, so I'm so glad that I was able to let go of people that were no longer serving me. And that wasn't only friends, but that was guys as well. But the people that really had my heart in a chokehold were my friends, because I would have done anything for my friends. And I have done everything for my friends. So yeah, so it made me reconsider what a friend was. You know, just because we have history, just because we've known each other, doesn't mean that you're my closest friend. That just means I know you the best. But it don't mean that you're my best friend. It just means that you're just around a lot. You know, so after I started to attract new people, then my perception of what a friend is started to change. And I just started to look at people for how they made me feel. And we don't have to be up each other's butts all day. We don't have to be spending nights at each other's house all the time. We don't have to be, you know, seeing each other or talking to each other or in a group chat to be friends. The people that I consider friends now are people that make me feel good whenever I have an interaction with them. If we support each other, if we love on each other, if we give each other good energy, if we patronize each other, and we have positive exchanges every time we have an interaction, it don't matter if it's 5 times a year or twice a year, I consider that a friend of my journey now. And if you make me feel confused, if you make me feel uncomfortable, if you make me feel insecure, if you give me jealous vibes or competition vibes, you're not a friend. I don't care how long I knew you. So yes, you guys, that is a few decisions that I've made in my 20s that I'm so glad that I made. And this is my 30-year-old self talking to my 20-year-old self saying, yes, girl, you're doing the right thing. Don't worry and don't question yourself, period. So if you are not subscribed to my channel already, make sure you go ahead and do that. Turn on your notifications, and I'll see y'all in the next video. And once again, always carry yourself with that main energy, and always believe that you are the catch, and always bet on yourself, period. See y'all later.